Hey JFam, and welcome back to the van conversion series. Last episode left off with building most of our upper cabinets, but as per usual, we don't always finish one project before jumping straight into the next. So to begin today's vlog, we're building the lower cabinets for the kitchen area. But first, Justin had a surprise for me, and I did not see it coming. Is it time? Yes! Hey, that's huge. We have lights now. And we have light! Wow! Just a girl and her man building out a big van. It's a JessaJayVlogs van build out series. Jumping right back into these kitchen cabinets, we marked out holes where appliances like our fridge would be sitting, then drilled them out with a hole saw. That way it'd have room to breathe and vent where needed. Once the walls were made and primed, we used 1x1s to create the structural beams to hold them up with a pocket hole jig and screws. Now before I go any further, I'd like to introduce you to the fuel and sponsor of today's video, a caffeine substitute called Magic Mind. And let me just say, the name is quite fitting, because this little green potion really was the magic boost we needed to get through our van build burnout and finish up this huge project once and for all. If you've noticed negative side effects to your daily coffee intake, like energy crashes, increased anxiety, or caffeine jitters, I'd highly encourage you to keep listening. Because your coffee, it's lying to you. I recently learned that coffee doesn't actually give you any energy. It just simply blocks your adenosine receptors, tricking your brain into thinking you aren't tired. So it's no wonder you crash twice as hard as soon as it wears off. It was time for my own personal experiment. Magic Mind claimed its natural ingredients supported memory, increased creativity, and boosted focus. As a generally skeptical human being, the first thing I did was look into non-biased internet reviews. To my pleasant surprise, I was greeted with a flood of overwhelmingly positive feedback. So I ditched the coffee and gave this shot a shot. It says we need to shake, breathe, and drink. I don't mind the taste. It's kind of earthy with a touch of bitterness that's offset by honey. My sister was a tad bit more, dramatic about it. So if you're anything like her and typically hate shots, you can always put it over ice and add some milk to make a nice latte. Anyways, I didn't try the product for the taste. I tried it for the results. And after 4 straight days of taking it, I finally began to feel what everyone was raving about. Instead of jittery, anxious energy, I now felt this new sensation of calm and focused. Not wired, but dialed in. And that's what fueled me through the rest of the build. So if you'd like to try a healthier alternative to your normal caffeine source, head to the link in my description for 20% off. And if you do end up trying it, don't hesitate to reach out to me and let me know how it went for you. Because for me, it's a game changer. Alright, let's get back to building the van kitchen. Before we got these pieces completely installed, we realized it'd be smart to put in our backsplash before that area was too hard to get to. Installing this was a breeze considering it was just one gigantic fancy sticker. It was a good brain break. And again, always project hopping, we finally put up our last van wall. Then I went back to working on the fronts of those upper cabinets, and I had to be really meticulous about making sure they were square or I knew they'd end up looking all funky. I made those cuts, and then some of my friends decided to come over and shoot a film in our front yard that day, and since I had to stop making noise each time they called action, I secretly blamed them for the cabinet fronts being so unevenly sanded. But if you guys are watching this, I really do hope it turned out well. Because I sacrificed the perfection of my cabinets for your art. Anyways, we drove over to my friend Michael's workshop. He's been a longtime viewer, supporter of the channel, and internet friend, and offered to let us use his tools and building skills for the day, as well as promised me he wasn't going to murder us in his basement. I brought my cabinet fronts painted and ready to work on to get them prepped for mounting. Craig products for the win once again. I used their concealed hinge jig to create circle in cuts for the hinges I was getting ready to install. I marked screw depth with tape to make sure I didn't accidentally go through the other side, but forgot to turn down the torque on my drill, leading to this. Dang it, I cracked the wood. Switched drill bits and turned down that torque, and that seemed to take care of the issue. Meanwhile, Michael was creating beautiful framing for our lower cabinets using pocket jig holes. Are you proud?
So proud.
You should tell them where they can find you on TikTok.
At Mike Breezy, yo.
Nice. This was supposed to be a piece to add to the back ceiling area, but it ended up being too flimsy, so Justin found another use for it.
Oh gosh! Ah! You killed me!
Hawkeye here.
With the final slivers of light, it was time to finish this ceiling up once and for all.
We've got to put wool up, pull this wire through, and hold this piece up while I try to hit these spots. I have faith in us.
I am very proud to announce that my job was highly important. I was the board holder, and I realized I was the perfect height to hold it with my head. So that's how I did it the entire time.
It's hilarious. Just staring
This is my job.
This is who I am now.
And thus began the long and arduous process of installing the last part of the ceiling. You know those survivor contests where it's grueling to hold something above your head and you're competing to see who can go the longest? It's basically that, except there's no winners. We all lose blood circulation and feeling in our arms.
There you go, that pulled it tight. I need a martini. Yeah, I'll want a full one, shaken, not stirred. I don't know if the camera can see this, but I put my initials in it. There. That's my name. That's me. It's your boy KP.
I'm just kidding. I would never leave you in there.
You are so small. S-M-O-L.
No, you're ferocious.
Yeah, you are scary, I know. Don't do that.
The cabinet fronts I'd worked so hard on were finally going up, and we were working on getting those push locks installed on them as well, but they weren't latching how we were expecting, so we used Kyler's phone to investigate and found out that the lip of our cabinets were too big for this push lock. Time for some problem solving. Thankfully, Kyler came up with an idea to Dremel a little hole divot into that lip, and it worked.
Hey! Brilliant! Brilliant!
We were all getting really tired, and Justin dancing with a box is a pretty accurate representation of all of our mental states, so we pepped ourselves up with a nice meal and worked into the early hours of the morning, knowing in the back of our minds that our apartment lease was about to be up, and this van was simply not ready to move into yet. But as they say, time waits for no one, and I worked to get my old rig Marley all cleaned out and sold to her new adventure. Oh, and very important note, she told me Marley's name is now Chad. We moved out of our apartment as I sang Disney songs to distract myself from how oddly sad I felt about moving out of this dingy little apartment that had come to feel like home.
Right young women, sick of swimming, ready to stand. I'm ready to know what the people know.
Thankfully, Justin's parents let us crash with them as we finished up, and they live on a beautiful horse ranch, so definitely an upgrade from the alternative of being homeless. Our bikes will be stored underneath our bed, so we're installing the bike mounts.
More holes in the van. I love holes in the van.
It just never gets less scary, it really doesn't. Jane's my comfort dog. She knows I have anxiety. Listen to me, bruh. She's literally the cutest.
The drawer fronts were going up, which would make them much more aesthetically pleasing, and my mother-in-law was working on patching up the ceiling with some homemade putty we made out of sawdust and glue.
Okay, two. Hey. Just
stormy weather was clearing up, and good news, so was our ceiling. We'd been nervous about cutting our butcher block countertop and naturally kind of putting it off, but once we got down to cutting it, it went really smoothly.
Hallelujah.
We're gonna lose so much of it right off the bat.
Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. What do you think you're doing back there, Justin?
I'm pulling down our backsplash. It's not sticking to the wall the way we want it. We're continually fighting it, so I'm pulling it off. We're gonna do some wall maintenance, try to sand it a little bit better, get it smoother so that it's got something better to grab onto, and this I'm throwing away.
It looks so sad without the backsplash.
It does.
Here goes attempt number 2 at the backsplash, and let me say, this is probably the closest we got to losing it in the entire van build. This vinyl adhesive was expensive, like about $70 per roll, and on top of that, it took months for this to come in, and we had no backup plan. So I think the pressure was just mounting.
Turn this off. That was stressful.
That was truly a traumatic experience. But it's up, and it actually looks really good. There it goes. Whoa, you see that smoke? So exciting. We've got our freshwater tank held in by a ratchet strap. This is connected to our foot pump. The foot pump, when we use that, basically makes a vacuum that pulls the water out of the freshwater tank and up into the faucet. So then the water that's in the sink comes down through this tube and into our gray water tank, which is back here. And we've also got our gas over here, which is what powers our stove. This is our hot water line, which is just capped off. We don't currently have the ability to do hot and cold water. We decided that really wasn't important to us, wasn't a priority, so that's why that line is tapped off.
How do you feel about being a plumber?
I don't like it. I like electricity better.
Shocking.
I'm ready to be done. Just wanting to be completely done with everything. And some pieces went together super easily. Just felt like they put themselves together. And some pieces felt like every day you just didn't want to do it. That's about it.
As you can see here, the left side of that toilet box was just a bit too long, so we modified that, and then we decided to add a long mirror to that door that goes between our front cabin and our back cabin, just to open up the space a little bit, as well as just the practical use of being able to see our outfits each day and things like that.
Cure time, 24 hours.
Yay.
Hey, first day in the van. Says it holds in 30 seconds. Is that true, Justin?
It is slowly drifting down.
We didn't know how long Justin was going to be stuck here holding the mirror up, but thankfully it was only a few minutes before we were able to leave it.
It's graceful.
I think she's
It's in. Oh, that's the last piece of the van.
The door was beautiful, except we realized we could no longer open that drawer underneath the fridge. So we switched the direction of the door, and now you have to open the door before you can open the drawer, and that's fine with me. Finally, the moment I've been not so patiently waiting for all of these months, we put our mattress in. And I'm proud to present to you Maverick, our fully converted Sprinter van. Even just saying those words makes me so giddy. I trusted that with each piece of wood, each screw, we would eventually have to make it to this point, right? And here we are. Subscribe for the fun stuff and follow us along our van life journey. and I'll see you guys next time on the road.
Wait, Jay, no! Don't open that!
Why?
You'll let out the magic!
We're free!
Dang it. Now I can't share it with the J fam.
Don't worry, because the J fam can get it for 20% off from the link in the description.